This is First Bank of Wyoming Sports Friday on SVI Media.
Welcome back into the SVI Media Studios on First Bank of Wyoming Sports Friday. Duke Dance and Dahl Erickson with you, and appreciate the support of First Bank to make Sports Friday a possibility. Find your local branch location at gofirstbank.com. That is gofirstbank.com, with branch locations throughout western Wyoming and a new branch now in Sheridan. Visit gofirstbank.com. Let's talk some high school volleyball today, and joining us on Zoom for the sports show this morning is head coach of Kelly Walsh Volleyball. That's Coach Jeff Barkell. Coach, good morning. How are you doing today?
Morning. Doing terrific. Thanks.
Coach, first thing we're going to talk about is what an amazing set of games your girls and Laramie have had. They're definitely the matches that I think a lot of the coaches across the state have been watching. Talk about that rivalry this year and last year, and kind of how that's built up, and the level of volleyball that those two teams are playing right now.
Well, I think all of that started probably back in about 2017. They had a couple of really good teams, and we had a couple of really good teams where we had won 3 in a row. And just the battles back and forth started to kind of brew. And then as Alexis Stuckey kind of came up through the ranks, and then her younger sister, it just got pretty heated. And all of those kids really like to compete. They really kind of enjoy each other, actually. There's been talk about trying to play with each other a little bit in the off season and doing some things. So, they like to compete. They like to kind of trash a little bit, talk through the net. And it's just kind of a fun atmosphere. They all enjoy those games, and so that kind of adds to it. The competition level's high, and it's just been a real fun thing to be a part of.
Well, Laramie gets you guys in the first 2 matchups earlier on in the season, kind of in some preseason tournaments and whatnot, but then you guys get them in the most the 2 recent ones, the ones that really matter as far as seedings and standings. So what do you feel is the difference between the first 2 times you guys played Laramie and the most recent 2 times when you came up on top?
Well, I think part of it, you have to own the fact that the first one, Alexis wasn't even there, so that obviously plays into it. She's a great player. The second time, she's just coming back from being out for a few weeks, and but our kids started to kind of mature and grow a little bit in confidence, and I think our intensity level was high, and we found ourselves in the heat of the battle, just feeling like, hey, you know what, we have a shot here, and then a few things went our way and made a few really good plays, and then the next thing you know, you win some matches. And so that's kind of, in my opinion, that's kind of really the biggest part of it, is just our kids just believing a little bit better that they can compete with Alexis on her level, and then that rest of that team.
Well, certainly getting down to brass tacks now, as we have regionals next week, and looking at the 4A East regionals that'll take place at Campbell County High School between you two, and obviously there's some other good teams as well. I mean, the quality of volleyball in the 4A class this year, obviously you guys, the Lady Trojans and Laramie are kind of leading the way, but there's a lot of really good teams in the 4A class, and there always are, but it seems like this year, even particularly, there are some teams that can maybe perhaps make some noise.
Well, there are, Cheyenne East and Thunder Basin, Star Valley's looking pretty good. Jackson's won a few games, and the Tronas, we played them just earlier this week, and they're looking pretty good. So the team that wins, it's going to have to be healthy, number one, and they're going to have to get a little bit lucky as far as draws and stuff, and then have to play pretty well if they're going to win the title this year.
Coach, is there, outside of you and Laramie, is there another team that maybe scares you the most that right now is just looking good, playing well at the right time, or maybe down the road you think, I sure hope we don't have to get through those guys in the state tournament?
Well, I don't know if Natrona's a team that's a little scary for us, just because the crosstown rivalry thing always makes things a little bit more intense and a little bit more nerve-wracking. Star Valley, though, I haven't really seen them much except on some video, and they look pretty good. They're a nice little team. East, if they get hot, and Thunder Basin, with the big girl in the middle there, she can always take over a game if she starts feeling pretty confident and gets hot. So, you're going to have to face a few of those teams. So we're just going to try to focus on us and do the best that we can to get healthy first and foremost. We've had some illness and injury plague us a little bit this last week, and we're just hoping we can get healthy by that time, and then we'll focus on us and just, you gotta try to beat everybody if you're going to win it all, and that's really our main goal. So we'll see how that goes.
Another element this year, obviously, will be a little different with COVID-19 not playing as much of a factor in the scheduling and some of the things that the kids and the students have to do. How has that been different for you and your girls this season?
Well, it's been interesting. Last year we had a lot of protocols that kind of made the year just a little bit weird, and then this year, some of those protocols aren't in place as much in some places, but they are others. And so you go to this place and you wear a mask the whole time. You go to that place and basically just if you want to protect yourself, you stay away from people. And so all of that's been a little bit different this year, which is fine. We're just, I think we're just getting back to normal a little bit, and it's just kind of nice. The kids are enjoying it. The intensity in the gyms are good because there's a lot of big crowds and a lot of screaming and yelling, so that's pretty good.
Speaking with head coach Jeff Barkell of Kelly Walsh Volleyball today on First Bank of Wyoming Sports Friday. Coach, tell us more about your team. Tell us about some of the girls that are some of the leaders that you really rely on that are having a great year. Tell us who's playing well for the Trojans right now.
I got to be honest, I think a lot of the stuff we've done has been real team oriented and real team win kind of stuff. But Peyton Carruth is our motor. She's kind of the energy kid. She's the one that you kind of like the Energizer Bunny. She just gets after it and she screams and yells and gets everybody involved. Then opposite her, Abby Milby, there are certain games she leads us in kills, digs, and whatever else. And she joins in with Peyton right there with that. Our setter, CJ Eskew, has really come on as of late, just playing the net pretty strong, and she's really worked on her defense and has been really solid for us, consistently setting the ball. Bailey, our libero, has really been solid. She's kind of the anchor back there and covers a lot of ground and picks up a lot of balls for us and keeps things alive. And then our middles, Logan and Shelby, they do all the dirty work that nobody really wants to do, and they're really willing to do it without too much complaining or anything else. And they don't get a lot of attention for it, but that's kind of like that glue person that you really need to do some of those things. And, they've all taken on those roles. And then Peyton Dedick on the right side has really done a nice job to find that role and be a pretty solid blocker for us, and she runs through a lot of stuff on defense, and then we can give her the ball and trust her to get kills for us. So we're pretty well-rounded, maybe more well-rounded than some teams, and that's probably why we've been able to win some games. You get certain kids into the back row, and some teams struggle to side out or get going. And for us, we just keep rotating and coming at you. And so that's been a really nice thing for our team.
Well, Coach, certainly appreciate your time today. Thank you for joining us. Just one final question as we wrap things up here this morning is, now that you're finishing up regular season play, as you begin to make that transition from regular season to postseason, does anything change for your approach and for your team's approach, intensity in practices or anything like that now that you have the postseason tournaments coming up?
Well, we will pick up the intensity in practice. Our sophomores and our JV team will be finishing up here tomorrow, and so at that point we'll pick up the intensity. We'll do a little bit more things as far as preparing game-like situation things than we've been able to do with 30 kids in the gym. So that kind of thing will pick up a little bit, but mostly we worry a lot about our energy and our effort and the things that we do well, and we'll focus on that more than anything. And just a lot of stuff that just is more game-like probably than what we've done up to this point.
That's Coach Jeff Barkell, Kelly Walsh Volleyball this morning on First Bank of Wyoming Sports Friday. Coach, best of luck to you. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
We'll break here. We'll come back with more from the SBI Media Studios, all part of First Bank of Wyoming Sports Friday.